Hi everyone! Renate here from Crafty Renate. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna show you something I did a couple of months ago, but I wasn't able to edit the video, so I am so happy to finally be able to show you. I did my very first ever DIY miniature theater box. There are different types, but the one I made is in this little pretty metal box, hence theater box. And inside, there's this whole world that I put together myself. So you get all the parts, but you have a lot of work to put everything together, cut things out, measure things. There's even lights inside, and you need to make the circuit, put everything, combine everything so that the lights can work and things like that. So much fun. I discovered this through an ad from Banggood, which is a website, a Chinese website that I purchase things on regularly sometimes. And when I saw this, I was like, wait, what is this? Is this a little dollhouse? But then I saw that you need to put it together yourself. So I was very intrigued. And then I saw that the inhabitants of these little worlds are teeny tiny bunnies. So of course that did it. That sold me even more. So yeah. And then I couldn't choose between 3 of one listing, and I decided to just get all 3. I only made one of the 3 so far, and I have the other 2 right here. The box in itself is adorable. But then, when you open it, there's a whole world inside. Oh my gosh. And wait for it. Ta-da! That's like, it has lights. How cool is that? It is so pretty. As I mentioned, I had never built anything miniature before in my life, so I didn't know if I was gonna like it. But I filmed the whole thing. I'm gonna try and cram that footage into a sort of an acceptable size video. Don't know how I'll succeed in that because I kind of want to show you everything. But it was a lot. I did very much enjoy making it, but this is not for someone who has no patience or little patience or mediocre patience. You need a lot of patience. So yeah, I have a lot of patience, so that wasn't a problem, and I love doing things with my hands, so that worked out because you need to do a lot of things with your hands. Honestly, the hardest part for me was figuring out what type of glue to use. Now, because I am a creative person, I have so many different types of glue. I have wood glue, I have hot glue, I have industrial strength glue, I have glue for plastic, I have glue for glass, I have glue for wood, I already said that. I have glue for paper, I have glue spray, I have all the glues. But what kind of glue would you use for that? There are special types of glue specifically for modeling kits, and they have this really long tip so that it's easy to get into really tiny spaces. Those weren't an option either, because they were either only for plastic or only for wood. And this kit had plastic, wood, fabric, not glass, what else? Metal, a lot of different types of materials. So that wouldn't have worked. And also, I wanted something that would be strong once the whole thing was finished, which wasn't in a day or a week, let's be honest. I will check how long I actually worked on it. I could sort of see it by how much footage I have, but a couple of times the camera turned off because I was filming for too long. So I probably worked on it a little bit longer than I have footage for, but I will insert how many hours I worked on it right here. What I wanted was for it to be super sturdy once it was finished, But while I was working on it, I wanted it to be sturdy enough so that if I put together a chair, it would stay as a chair and not fall apart. But I still wanted to be able to reposition things and change things. And I'm glad I realized that before starting, because while I was doing it, I was putting furniture in and everything. I put everything down, and then there was a staircase that needed to go in, and then the chairs were in the way. And if I would have glued those down with a strong glue right away, I would have been in trouble. So, and also, even if you used glue that was repositionable, you might get stains on your, the paper and everything. So there was a lot of paper involved as well. So I wanted the least amount of stains. I wanted it to be sturdy, but I still wanted it to be repositionable. That was a huge challenge. So I had all these different types of glues lined up on my table. I did use a couple of them, but one thing I didn't even consider was actually what I ended up using the most, which was just double-sided tape. But really strong double-sided tape. It's orange or red, which made it difficult to peel off the top layer. So that was a problem because I have no nails. I mean, I have nails, but they're really short. So it wasn't easy, but I found that worked really well. It's clean, it's strong enough, but you can still easily peel it off and change things and everything. No stains. So I found that worked really well while I was working. So you will see me using that a lot. But what I ended up doing when I was finished, when everything was in the right spot and everything, and I was happy with the result, to make things more sturdy, I actually then went back in and glued down everything with industrial strength glue, the E6000 glue. So I didn't remove the double-sided tape. I just sort of lifted the furniture and put some industrial strength glue under it and then put it back onto the double-sided tape with the glue. So everything is really nice and sturdy now. So I really liked how that worked out for me. Yeah, sure, I had double the amount of work because I glued things down twice, but I didn't really care. This is not the kind of project you do because you want to do something really quick. So whether it takes, another couple of days to finish it doesn't matter. So yeah, and I actually started off with second glue, the kind that dries really fast in the beginning for the front panels and stuff, because I knew I didn't need to reposition those anymore. It didn't work well on metal or on the wood, and it stains the wood, which that's one thing I'm bummed about, and that's a mistake I'm not gonna make again with my other two little theater boxes. I have a couple of stains on the front panel from using that glue in the very beginning. I should not have used that glue. Another thing I used, which is also categorized amongst double-sided tape, they're those little foam cushions, those double-sided sticky foam cushions that you use for sort of 3D, layering 3D. What's it called again? You know what I mean, right? When you put layers upon layers to create depth on a card or something, you have those little squares that are sticky, and you have really thick ones and you have thinner ones. Anyway, I used those a couple of times as well for the front panel, and also to stick down my little lights, because that was tricky too, to get the metal wire to stick to this curved, very smooth, slippery metal box. Yeah, that was tricky too. But now that I've done one, I think the next two will be easier and will go quicker, because I know what to use, how to use it, how to do things. So yeah, I'm really excited about doing the other two. I did very much enjoy putting this together. I would definitely recommend it if you're creative and if you don't mind doing something that's really, really small and that takes a lot of time, then this might be something that you might like to do. These kits are so well thought through. I mean, the way they look, all of these small little pieces, how you need to put them together, and what end result you're getting, and then things like the roof, for example, because I saw that the roof had a reed on it, and I didn't see anything like that in my kit, so I thought parts were missing. As it turns out, there was this little piece of string, and I needed to cut it in certain sizes, and then take the rope apart so that I got all these frilly bits to turn it into reed for the roof. Things like that. I would have never thought of that, okay? I'm gonna be honest. Now I know. So things like that is like so clever. When I make the other 2 theater boxes, I will put some progress pictures on Instagram stories and on Twitter. And yes, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with my next video. Bye!